Hello and welcome. Imagine leaving $1 million job to sell books from your garage. Everyone laughs at your crazy idea. You nearly lose everything you own. This is the incredible story of Jeff Bezos and how he built Amazon from absolutely nothing into a global empire worth over $1 trillion. How did a poor kid who loved books create the company that changed how the entire world shops? What mistakes almost destroyed his dream, and how did he turn them into his greatest victories? Are you ready to discover the secrets behind one of the greatest success stories in human history? Let's begin this amazing journey. This is the story of a boy who loved books and became the richest man in the world. His name is Jeff Bezos. Today, everyone knows Amazon. Everyone buys things from Amazon. But this story starts very differently. It starts with a teenager who had nothing but big dreams. Jeff was born on January 12, 1964. His life was not easy from the beginning. His mother was only 17 years old when he was born. She was still a teenager herself. His father left the family when Jeff was very young. Life was hard for his mother. She had no money and no help. When Jeff was 4 years old, his mother married a man named Miguel Bezos. Miguel came from Cuba to America with nothing. He could not speak English well. He worked very hard to build a new life. Miguel adopted Jeff and gave him his last name. From that day, Jeff became Jeff Bezos. The family did not have much money. They lived in a small apartment. Jeff's stepfather worked long hours to pay the bills. His mother worked too. Everyone in the family had to help. Jeff learned about hard work from watching his parents. Even as a young boy, Jeff was different. He was very curious about everything. He always wanted to know how things worked. He took apart toys to see what was inside. He built things with his hands. His mind was always thinking about new ideas. Jeff loved to read books. He read everything he could find. He read science books, adventure stories, and books about space. Books opened his mind to new worlds. Books showed him that anything was possible. Reading became his favorite thing to do. In school, Jeff was a smart student. But he was also a dreamer. Teachers saw that he thought differently from other children. He asked questions that other kids did not ask. He saw solutions that others could not see. Some teachers encouraged him. Others thought he was strange. When Jeff was 12 years old, something important happened. His family moved to a small town in Texas. There, Jeff spent summers working on his grandfather's farm. His grandfather was a wise man who taught Jeff many lessons about life. On the farm, Jeff learned to work with his hands. He fixed machines that were broken. He solved problems that seemed impossible. His grandfather always said, "If you want something done right, do it yourself." This lesson stayed with Jeff his whole life. Jeff's grandfather also taught him about business. The farm was a business. Every decision mattered. Every dollar had to be spent carefully. Jeff watched how his grandfather made smart choices. He learned that success comes from making good decisions every day. As Jeff grew older, his love for books never changed. But he also became interested in computers. In the 1970s, computers were new and exciting. Most people did not understand them. But Jeff saw their power. He knew computers would change the world. In high school, Jeff was the best student in his class. He got perfect grades. He won awards for his smart ideas. But more importantly, he never stopped dreaming. While other students thought about parties and sports, Jeff thought about the future. Jeff went to Princeton University to study. Princeton is one of the best universities in America. Only very smart students can go there. Jeff studied electrical engineering and computer science. He wanted to understand how technology worked. At Princeton, Jeff continued to be an excellent student. He graduated with highest honors. This meant he was one of the smartest students in his class. But Jeff was not just smart with books. He was smart about life. After university, Jeff got a job on Wall Street in New York City. Wall Street is where the biggest financial companies work. Jeff worked for a company that used computers to make investment decisions. He was very good at his job. He made a lot of money. Jeff was successful on Wall Street. His bosses liked him. He got promoted quickly. By the time he was 30 years old, he was making more money than most people ever dream of. He could have stayed there forever. He could have had a comfortable life. But Jeff was not satisfied with just being comfortable. He wanted to do something bigger. He wanted to change the world. Every day, he felt like he was wasting his talents. He knew he could do something more important than making rich people richer. In 1994, Jeff learned something that changed his life forever. He discovered that internet usage was growing by 200–300% every year. This number shocked him. He realized the internet was about to explode. Most people still did not understand what the internet was. But Jeff saw the future. Jeff started thinking about what he could sell on the internet. He made a list of 20 different products. He thought about clothes, music, and electronics. But one product stood out to him: books. Jeff realized that books were perfect for the internet. Why were books perfect? First, there are millions of different books in the world. No physical store could hold them all, but the internet had unlimited space. Second, books are the same everywhere. A book in New York is the same as a book in California. Third, people who read books are smart. Smart people would be the first to use the internet. Jeff knew he had found his big idea. He would create an online bookstore. It would be the biggest bookstore in the world. People could find any book they wanted. They could order it from home. It would arrive at their door. But Jeff faced a big problem. He had a great job and a great salary. If he left Wall Street to start a company, he might fail. He might lose everything. His friends thought he was crazy. His boss tried to talk him out of it. One friend said, "Jeff, you have a perfect life. Why would you risk it?" Another friend said, "Selling books on the internet? Nobody will ever do that. People want to touch books before they buy them." Even his wife was worried about the idea. But Jeff had a way to think about big decisions. He called it the regret minimization framework. He imagined himself as an old man. He asked himself, "When I am 80 years old, what will I regret more? Trying and failing, or never trying at all?" The answer was clear. He would regret not trying much more than failing. If he failed, he could always get another job. But if he never tried, he would always wonder what could have been. This thinking gave him the courage to take the leap. Jeff told his boss he was leaving. His boss was shocked. "Jeff," he said, "this sounds like a great idea for someone who does not have a good job. But you have a great job. Think about this for 2 days." But Jeff had already made his decision. In July 1994, Jeff and his wife packed their car and drove across the country to Seattle. Why Seattle? Because Seattle was close to a big book distributor. Also, Washington State had fewer people, so he would pay less in taxes. Every detail mattered for a new business. Jeff and his wife moved into a small house. Jeff set up his computer in the garage. The garage became the first Amazon office. There was no fancy equipment. There was no big team. There was just Jeff, his computer, and his dream. Jeff started building the website by himself. He taught himself how to code. He worked 18 hours every day. His wife helped by packaging books and driving them to the post office. They did everything themselves. The first challenge was choosing a name for the company. Jeff wanted a name that started with A because websites were often listed alphabetically. He thought about many names. He almost chose, quote, cadabra, like the magic word abracadabra. But when he said it to his lawyer over the phone, the lawyer heard, quote, 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 quote. That was not a good name for a business. Then Jeff opened the dictionary and found the word Amazon. The Amazon River is the biggest river in the world. Jeff wanted his bookstore to be the biggest bookstore in the world. The name was perfect. Amazon it would be. Jeff launched the Amazon website in July 1995. He did not spend money on advertising. Instead, he asked friends to tell other friends about the website. He hoped a few people might try buying books online. Something amazing happened. Within the first month, Amazon sold books to people in all 50 American states and in 45 different countries. Jeff could not believe it. The idea was working better than he had dreamed. But success brought new problems. Orders were coming in faster than Jeff could handle them. He was packaging books in his garage until late at night. His hands were getting hurt from taping so many boxes. He needed help, but he had no money to hire people. Jeff asked his parents for help. His parents were retired and living comfortably. They had saved money for their old age. Jeff asked them to invest $300,000 in Amazon. This was almost all of their savings. Jeff's parents were scared. They did not understand the internet. They did not know if people would really buy books online. But they believed in their son. They had watched him work hard his whole life. They had seen him succeed at everything he tried. Jeff's father said, "We do not understand your business, but we understand you. We believe you will find a way to make this work." They gave Jeff the money. This $300,000 investment later became worth more than $30 billion. It was one of the best investments in history. With his parents' money, Jeff moved Amazon out of the garage. He rented a small office and hired his first employees. These first employees believed in Jeff's vision. They worked long hours for very little money. They did it because they believed they were building something special. Amazon was growing fast, but Jeff knew books were just the beginning. His real vision was much bigger. He wanted Amazon to be the everything store. He wanted people to buy anything they needed from Amazon. In 1997, 2 years after starting Amazon, Jeff made a big decision. He decided to sell shares of Amazon to the public. This means regular people could buy part of the company. Amazon stock started trading at $18 per share. Many people thought Jeff was crazy to sell stock so early. Amazon was still losing money. The company was spending more than it was making. But Jeff needed money to grow faster. He knew that in the internet business, speed was everything. Wall Street experts did not understand Amazon. They said this company does not make profits. Why should we invest in it? Financial newspapers wrote negative articles about Amazon. They said the stock price was too high. One famous investor said, "Amazon is just a bookstore. Barnes & Noble will crush them." Another expert said, "When the big companies wake up, Amazon will disappear." The criticism hurt, but Jeff did not listen to the doubters. Jeff focused on customers instead of critics. He believed that if Amazon made customers happy, profits would come later. This was a very different way of thinking. Most companies tried to make money first and worry about customers second. Jeff created a culture of customer obsession at Amazon. Every decision was made by asking, "What is best for the customer?" If something was good for customers, Amazon would do it, even if it cost money in the short term. For example, Amazon started offering free shipping on orders over $25. This cost Amazon millions of dollars. But customers loved it. More people started buying from Amazon because shipping was free. In the long run, this decision made Amazon more money. Amazon also started selling more than books. They added music CDs, then movies, then electronics. Every time they added a new category, experts said they were making a mistake. Amazon should stick to books, they said. But Jeff had a bigger vision. By 1999, Amazon was selling everything from books to kitchen tools to garden supplies. The company was growing incredibly fast. But then disaster struck. The dot-com bubble burst. Internet companies started failing everywhere. Amazon's stock price fell from $100 to $6. The company lost 95% of its value. Employees were afraid they would lose their jobs. Investors thought they had wasted their money. The media said Amazon was finished. This was the darkest time in Amazon's history. Jeff had to fire some employees to save money. He had to convince investors not to panic. He had to keep believing in his vision when everyone else had given up. Jeff never stopped believing. He knew the internet was not a fad. He knew people would eventually do most of their shopping online. He just had to survive until that day came. So he made the hard decisions necessary to keep Amazon alive. Amazon stopped spending money on fancy offices and expensive advertising. They focused on the basics, serving customers and improving their website. They made the shopping experience faster and easier. They added customer reviews so people could see what others thought about products. Slowly, things started to improve. More people began shopping online. Amazon's sales grew every quarter. The company started making small profits. Investors began to believe again. The media stopped saying Amazon would fail. In 2006, Jeff made another bold decision. Amazon launched Amazon Web Services, which lets other companies use Amazon's computer systems. This was completely different from selling products, but Jeff saw that many companies needed help with technology. Today, Amazon Web Services makes more profit than the entire retail business. It powers websites for companies like Netflix, Spotify, and millions of others. This shows how Jeff was always thinking ahead to the next big opportunity. Jeff also launched the Kindle e-reader in 2007. Many people thought this was crazy. Why would Amazon compete with physical books when they sold so many of them? But Jeff believed digital books were the future. He wanted Amazon to lead the change instead of being left behind. The Kindle became hugely successful. It made reading more convenient and opened up new possibilities for authors. Again, Jeff's vision of the future proved correct. Amazon Prime was another revolutionary idea. For one annual fee, customers got free shipping on all orders. Most people thought this would bankrupt Amazon. How could they afford to give away free shipping to everyone? But Jeff understood customer psychology. When shipping is free, people order more often. They buy more items per order. They become more loyal to Amazon. Prime members spend twice as much money as regular customers. Today, Amazon Prime has over 200 million members worldwide. These members pay Amazon billions of dollars every year just for the privilege of shopping there. What seemed like a crazy idea became one of Amazon's most profitable innovations. As Amazon grew bigger, Jeff never forgot the lessons from his early days. He still focused on customers first. He still made long-term decisions instead of worrying about short-term profits. He still encouraged employees to experiment and try new things. Jeff created a culture of innovation at Amazon. Employees were encouraged to try new ideas, even if most of them failed. Jeff knew that in order to find the next big success, you have to be willing to fail many times. Amazon tried many things that did not work. They launched a smartphone that nobody bought. They created a payment system that never became popular. They started a grocery delivery service that lost money for years. But Jeff saw these failures as learning experiences. For every failure, Amazon had several successes. They created Amazon Echo and Alexa, which brought voice control to millions of homes. They launched Amazon Studios, which produces award-winning movies and TV shows. They built Amazon Go stores where customers can shop without waiting in checkout lines. Amazon also became a leader in artificial intelligence and machine learning. They use these technologies to recommend products, manage inventory, and improve customer service. Jeff invested heavily in these technologies because he believed they would shape the future. Today, Amazon is one of the most valuable companies in the world. It employs over 1 million people. It serves hundreds of millions of customers. It operates in countries around the globe. The garage startup became a global empire. But the numbers only tell part of the story. Amazon changed how the world shops. Before Amazon, people had to drive to stores, search through limited selections, and wait in checkout lines. Today, people can buy anything they want with a few clicks and have it delivered the next day. Amazon also changed how we read books, listen to music, watch movies, and even talk to computers. The company that started by selling books online now touches almost every part of our digital lives. Jeff's success came from several key principles. First, he focused on customers instead of competitors. While other companies worried about what their rivals were doing, Jeff worried about what customers needed. Second, Jeff thought long-term. He was willing to lose money for years if it meant building a better business for the future. Most companies focus on quarterly profits. Jeff focused on long-term value. Third, Jeff was not afraid to fail. He knew that innovation requires experimentation. Some experiments would succeed, others would fail. The key was to learn from failures and keep trying new things. Fourth, Jeff hired great people and gave them freedom to innovate. He created a culture where smart people could do their best work. He encouraged debate and welcomed new ideas, even if they challenged his own thinking. Fifth, Jeff never stopped learning. Even as Amazon became successful, he continued to read books, meet with customers, and study new trends. He knew the world was always changing, and Amazon had to change with it. The boy who loved books became the man who changed how the world reads, shops, and lives. Jeff's story shows that with enough determination, any dream is possible. He started with nothing but an idea and built one of the most successful companies in history. Jeff's journey was not easy. He faced rejection, criticism, and failure. There were times when it seemed like Amazon might not survive. But he never gave up on his vision. He believed that if he focused on customers and thought long-term, success would follow. Today, when young entrepreneurs ask Jeff for advice, he tells them the same thing he learned as a child on his grandfather's farm. Work hard. Think long-term. Focus on customers. Do not be afraid to fail. And never stop dreaming big. Jeff's story is proof that in America and in the world, anything is possible if you are willing to work for it. A boy from a small town with no money became one of the most successful businessmen in history. If he could do it, so can you. The garage where Amazon started is now a tourist attraction. Visitors come to see where one of the world's greatest companies began. But the real lesson is not about the garage. It is about the man who had the courage to leave a safe job and chase his dreams. Jeff Bezos showed us that the biggest risk is not taking any risk at all. He showed us that customer obsession beats competitor obsession every time. He showed us that long-term thinking beats short-term thinking. Most importantly, he showed us that ordinary people can do extraordinary things. If you have a dream, do not wait for the perfect moment. Do not wait until you have enough money or enough experience. Do not listen to people who say it cannot be done. Listen to your heart, work hard, and never give up. The world needs more people like Jeff Bezos. People who see problems and create solutions. People who imagine a better future and work to build it. People who believe that one person with a great idea can change the world. That person could be you. Your idea might seem crazy to others. People might tell you it will never work. But if you believe in yourself and you are willing to work hard, you might just build the next Amazon. The story of Amazon is still being written. The company continues to grow and innovate. But the most important chapter was written in a garage by a man who believed in his dreams and never gave up on them. What will your story be?